You can support this podcast for $3 a month at patreon.com/copytradersclub. Or find me on eToro, username Gavin Macaulay, and add me to a watch list for future content. Thanks for listening. Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make better decisions and more money copy trading. I'm Gavin Macaulay, my name and username on eToro. My aim as an eToro enthusiast is to demystify this new and uncharted world of copy trading, understand what are the pitfalls and best practices, and how ultimately to succeed as a copy trader. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Copytraders Club, Series 3, Episode 24. And for this 20-minute check-in, we are joined by the ever-fabulous Sharon Connolly back with us. G'day, Shazza. How you going?
Hello, Gav. Good to be back.
Well, great to have you back. You were here, first of all, in November 2021, which is a 1 hour and 15 minutes deep dive. I will link to that in the show notes if the viewer wants to get to know you more. This is just a little 20-minute check-in to see what's been going on since then. Now, since then, since November 2021, your tech-heavy portfolio was riding high back then. And then you had an annus horribilis in 2022. But now, 2023, year-to-date, returns have been great. So, is Sharon back because Sharon's back?
But sorry, say that again, Gavin.
Is Sharon back because Sharon's back?
Definitely. But, it's important to say me and everybody else, because there were some big guys in that everybody's got, your Googles, your Facebooks, your Amazon, your Netflix, all of those took a hammering. In fact, everything tech took a hammering in 2022. But now back for the time being. I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but we're back for the time being.
Well, as we get into the randomly selected questions later, we'll have a little look around at your portfolio and stuff and your stats in those days. And then what's happened recently. So apart from that, before we get into that, Sharon, I catch glimpses of you on social media from time to time, usually in some interesting place full of smiles with your husband and often raising a glass. Now, am I right in thinking there have been some professional changes since we last spoke? So when we spoke last time, I had a bit of a side hustle going on that I didn't mean to start it, accidentally started in COVID, where I created materials for project professionals. And a year ago, I gave up full-time work, and I just do my side hustle has now turned into full-time work now. So that involves quite a bit of travel still, and a much more flexible way of working. Because I seem to remember you loved your job. You were super enthusiastic about your job.
I do the same thing. But instead of working for one client, I consult to multiple clients. But I'm still doing the same thing and still loving it.
Okay, great. All right, then let's do a little bit of screen sharing. And I'm going to ask my first random question. And it is number 29. Oh, this is quite appropriate. Describe your last vacation.
It was, it ended on Thursday. I was in Bali for 6 days, and it was very much a do nothing. A lot of my vacations are active and traveling and trekking, but 6 days in Bali, didn't leave the resort, horizontal, nice food, drink, beach, reading, all good.
And I'm going to guess your resort was in Seminyak?
Nusa Dua.
Nusa Dua. Okay. Very nice.
Quieter, much quieter.
Mm-hmm. So you weren't out and about in the little streets of Bali on a scooter?
No,
Splashing through puddles.
No, staying in a big hotel that had 5 restaurants and just a different one every night. So no reason to leave.
Great. Okay. Next question. Number 40. Who's your favorite comedian?
I would say probably Sarah Millican.
Oh, yeah. She's a British, English.
Yeah, saw her recently.
Yeah.
I resonate with a lot of what she says. Mm-hmm. So if anybody listening hasn't heard of her, check her out on YouTube. She's brilliant.
Right. Next question is 41. I'm going to change that to, how would you rate your performance over the last 6 months?
Oh, 6 months. It's been stellar. I couldn't really have wished. It has outperformed a lot better than I expected. I was hoping for a slow and steady climb, and I seem to have knocked it out of the park the last 6 months. And I think, in fact,
I was just sharing there your stats page, and of course, my internet's decided to do something.
Well, I'll say, whilst it's waiting to come up, that's the only time in 10 years, when you get to the stats page, I've now had, assuming that it finishes in the green on Monday, I will have had 7 months in the green, which I've not had in the 10 years that I've been on the platform.
And just looking at what's on the screen now, it shows your 10 years on the platform.
Yeah. It's 10 years in August. It's 10 years next week.
Very good. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, there you go.
This now shows your your year to date 2023. So, as I say, we spoke in November 2021 when you were about to just complete your 3rd consecutive double-digit strong year.
Yeah.
And then 2022 minus 41.46. And year to date so far, 56.19. Wow, so even if someone started copying you at the start of 2022, they're very close to break even.
Yeah. And I really feel for people that started to copy me at that time and that got into the markets at that time, because it's really worrying for somebody who's new to experience that and think that it's something that they're doing and not realize that it's just general market activity. So I hope that anybody who did start to dip their toes in the water then understands that it's a regular cycle, and I hope that they've come through it. Not just people following and copying me, but anybody who started to trade for the first time. And it was, in fact, a great time for people to get in because you get some bargains.
Did you have a lot of unhappy copiers to communicate to during the past year?
No, not really. The odd comment, but no, I don't get any issues really from people. And it's interesting, I was at the eToro conference last year and I was speaking to some other female traders there, and there's not that many female traders, but they were talking about terrible comments that they get. And I'm lucky I get the odd little remark, and what happens when you've got plenty of followers, when somebody does make a remark, your followers and copiers normally get in and back for you before you need to defend yourself.
Yeah. Well, let's have a little look here. Oh no, that's now refreshing. Okay, next question is number 13. What's the one position in your portfolio you suspect might do amazingly well?
Oh, well, in what time period? What time are you going to give me? Amazingly well in the next 6 months or the next 6 years?
Oh, well, you can answer it whatever way you fancy.
I'm a huge fan of Microsoft, and I think that they've got some really good AI stuff coming out. AI that's going to be very applicable and also that people will pay for. So I think I would back if you said, Sharon, just get left with one, what would it be? I would stick with Microsoft.
As we're just looking at your portfolio here, we can see a lot of the outperformers in 2023, as you mentioned, all here. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, AMD, Meta. It's done very well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and just looking at those top level figures there as you scroll through the portfolio, with a lot of them, there's loads of trades behind those. So when you go and dig in, there are some of those that have made 200, 300, 400, 500% because I've had them so long.
Right. The other thing I was going to look at, we're still on the share screen, is your copier graph. Look how satisfying that is. Decline, 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 seems to bottom out, and then suddenly, whoa, parabolic rise.
Yeah.
That must give you
and that's
pleasure.
quite unusual. I've not seen that many investors that happens to. And the reason for that is that I've just started to engage, to really get on and start engaging with people on the platform.
Well, the reason for that surely is
yes, yeah, the stats as well.
Big fat green months.
Yeah.
15% in January, 11% in March, 9.5% in May. I mean, those are big chunky numbers.
Yep.
Very good. Right, let's see what silly question gets thrown up next.
How many are there? How many do you get to choose from?
Well, I've got 43 to choose from.
Okay.
And number 2, what's the worst thing about being a PI?
The worst thing is that I always have to consider what will happen to everybody else's portfolio before I do something. So I can't make small investments because of the way that the copies work. I can't just stick $50, $100 in because most of the copiers wouldn't pick that up, and it would mean that they would become unsynced. I also have to really be careful, or I think if I sell at anything or if I consolidate, I'm not able to do stuff with just me in mind. I'm always thinking about how it will impact them. So there's a lot of stuff. I think the main thing is not being able to go out for coffee on a Sunday, read the newspaper and think, oh, that's interesting. Let me just put $100 there. I've got to think about making a fairly large investment. Otherwise, the copiers don't get synced. And I also have to think about justifying that. What's the reason behind that? Whereas when you don't have any copiers, you can just go $50 here, $100 there. So I think that's the having to consider everybody rather than just making, a rash decision. That is the most difficult thing.
Interesting. Last time we spoke, I remember talking about your story and your personality and everything and saying, like, how come eToro haven't had you doing more promotional stuff? I think they've made up for that in the interim, haven't they? You've done quite a lot of promo stuff, haven't you?
No, I haven't done a huge amount. I've done the odd thing. I've done the odd thing, but and a lot of that is me actually figuring out women's finance events over here, and then I go, oh, look, eToro is sponsoring that, and then I get on the phone and say, guys, I'm very happy to help you here. So and of course we're still recovering from the impacts of COVID. People are still not getting into the city and going to events as much as they should do. But yeah, I've done a few things, but not a huge amount.
Have you met many other PIs in Australia?
Only one. I think you've. I know I've listened to his interview with David. Did you speak to him recently? It's in Ireland now.
Yes, that's right.
Daphne 17 or something like that.
Yes.
He was here, and I did catch up with him at an event, and I messaged him to catch up, and then realized that he's in Ireland now for a little while. But we don't have that many over here.
Okay, next number is 16. Have you ever made a fat-fingered error when opening a position on eToro?
No, I haven't made a fat-fingered one, but, if we go back to, say, 2017, I've made stupid decisions when I didn't really know what I was doing. For example, opening a very large Bitcoin transaction at a time that I didn't understand. I didn't know what the spread was. I didn't know what a spread was. So I opened it and immediately thought that it was losing loads of money.
Yeah, instantaneously.
Yeah. And Bitcoin Cash instead, further spread, just compounding. That was 2017, and I have learned a lot, and I know a lot more since then. But I reckon that's probably my biggest error: opening trades and not understanding what the spread was.
Okay, I've probably got time for another 2 or 3 questions, I would have thought. What's the number one thing copiers seem to value that they shouldn't?
Oh, short-term results. It's you see popular investors posting daily. My portfolio's up 1.5% today, and copy me. You gotta think. It depends what you're in for. Are you trading or you're investing? But the only stats that matter are the stats on the day that you actually sell. And people are looking for how much are you up this month? How much are you up today? And you've got to look, if you're following and copying me, you need to be looking at five years, because that's what I'm investing for. So it's they're looking for short-term results when they're following not just me, but other investors that are long-term investors.
Yeah, well, what proportion of your new copiers that account for that huge parabolic rise think the way you would like them to think? And what proportion are just going, wow, look at these last few months I'm in with this Sharon?
I would be able to tell you that because I did a poll. A few months ago, I polled them to say, how long are you investing for? And I think it's 75% of people say that they are investing for at least 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, they say that.
Yes, they say that. They say that. And, my advice would be that if you need your money within 2 years, don't put it here. Don't put it here because the markets can be unpredictable. So within 2 years, you may not get back what you've put in. So if you need it in less than 2 years, don't put it in.
Okay, next random question is 43, and it's kind of associated with what we're just talking about. When was the last time you bought a lottery ticket?
Oh, it's on direct debit. It's a standing order automatically.
Really?
T3 every week. Couple every week. We have draws here, like big draws we have Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And we also have here is we have these amazing tickets that get you houses. So it's like $10, and you go in for this $3 million house. I'm always in them. And wow. my work colleague won 20,000 on the lottery fairly recently, and another work colleague won 1.6 million. So, it's not always other people. I know people who have won. I win about $10.
Yeah. That question's come up a couple of times, and every time I've asked it, the answer was, yeah, quite recently. And I don't know what the question's designed to get at, but, I think some people might want to project such an image that they're such a serious investor that they don't buy lottery tickets or anything as frivolous as that.
You could say, if you'd asked me, when was the last time you gambled in a casino? So I could say that I went into Perth and I put $25 down on a blackjack table, and I thought, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just in the casino because we were eating there. Let's put $25 down. And my husband was like tapping away at the machines. And he has either zero no interest whatsoever. So, and I know that some people just love it, and I've got friends that love it, but I have no interest. I would never normally, it's just that we were eating in a lovely restaurant at the Crown in Perth, and we had 20 minutes and I wandered through. I'm like, oh, I'll have a little flutter, but it's not something that I do. But lottery tickets, yeah, a couple of times a week.
Well, I was waiting to hear that you turned that 25 into a grand that night or something.
No.
You lose straight away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's probably the best way to cope in the future. Go in, lose some money, think, not for me. I'm never going back again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, I think our time is up. That's us on 20 minutes, Sharon. It's been very nice to catch up with you.
Yeah.
See what's been going on. Have you any other message for your copiers before we round this up?
No, just thank you, and also thanks to you, Gavin, for spotlighting Popular Investors and doing it in a fun way. So it's good to chat, and I'll talk to you in 2 years.
Surely before then. All right, Sharon,
I hope so.
Take it easy. All the best.
Thanks. See ya. Thanks a lot.
That's all from me. See you on Discord and Facebook. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.